tension in my throat, I've got seconds to...
Hey students, welcome to episode 26 of the Film Student Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Lazzaroni. This week's episode is a special one. I have three actors who have each been in a bunch of different HRFS projects over the last 2 years. Adriana Trajkovski, Brittani Yawn, and Zak Kinnaird. I talk with them about how to get involved with HRFS projects, the traits of an effective director, and how to get the most out of working with film school students. Small disclaimer, I don't have them introduce themselves at the top. That's on me. So the first voice you're going to hear on this is Brittani's. I think you'll figure out the rest from there. On with the show.
I started acting when I was 10 years old. So it was it was a lot of stage work, a lot of community theater, and then doing stuff from there.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school for theater, and then I moved to Chicago, and I didn't do a lot of film work. The most film work I've been doing has been here. Mm-hmm. I became friends with some people at the Harold Ramis Film School. And they were like, hey, be in this thing. I'm like, okay.
That seems to be kind of everybody's path into it. Yeah. It's just like they meet somebody that talks through like, hey, you should do this thing.
Yeah.
You're funny.
Mine started, I have kind of just always wanted to do acting, to be an actor. And I did it in high school. And then, like I mentioned, my parents are immigrants, and like having an artistic career isn't exactly the like pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality that they have. So it doesn't align with that. So I went to school for journalism. I moved out here, had a job in advertising, and I hated it, and I quit, and just been pursuing acting since. So yeah, I was looking for on-camera opportunities, and when I was just looking at Second City's general auditions, this one came up, and I auditioned for them, I think it was like the purple cohort or blue, one of them, and it's been like
just constant since then.
Constant ever since.
Yeah,
it's been so good.
I think, was it Dax? Was it his shoot that I met you on?
Yeah, you met me on Dax's shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's purple, I think.
He was. I always when they're concurrent, I never know who's in what, but I know which one.
I'm inside the program and I forget who's in what, like constantly. Like there's a handful. I know cyan and magenta because it's. If you're the current term and you're not in my cohort, you're in magenta. That's easy. Yeah. But for all the rest of them, like orange and red, get them mixed up all the time.
Well, those are too close together.
Those colors
should not have been picked.
The
together.
colors are too close on the color spectrum. That makes it difficult. Yeah. Zach?
I did theater in high school and middle school and all that sort of stuff, and then took a step away from it because I thought there's no way to make a living off of this. So in college, I did...
Smart thinking.
Well, I did like chemistry and computer science, and I was not a great student. So then I tried law school, and that was going okay as well. And I'm still a lawyer.
Yeah. You'd be a great lawyer.
Oh, well, thanks. I am a lawyer.
Yeah. Never mind.
It's not a would-be. Is.
Would-be, I am. And so I started working in Houston once I had passed the bar and was practicing. And my firm lets me live anywhere in the country, and as a hobby I started picking back up into improv and acting and that sort of thing, and I thought if I can go anywhere I should come to Chicago because that's where all the best comedy is being made, in my opinion. So
well, it's been cool here because it's been very open to a lot of different stuff, and there's this culture here because I've been up to New York plenty of times to see there are people there who are expecting to make money doing it. Like there's a lot of people that are paying to do it, but they're not as talented. I feel like they're still learning. You know, they're the students in the system, and then you've got the people that are actually up on stage making money doing it. Here, I feel like you can actually get some really talented people who are just trying to hone the craft and are still willing to work for free or dirt cheap, from the standpoint of like, I want to have something to put into a reel, maybe to move to New York and get paid, or move to LA and get paid. But in the meantime, like, this is a great like workshop city. Yeah, you're gonna say?
No, I just want to know what type of law do you practice?
I do intellectual property law, specifically patents and trademarks. So for inventions, for tech companies and that sort of thing.
So if you have something you want to get patented.
Yeah, well, it's kind of adjacent because in this field there's lots of copyright issues. And
we just had a class recently where we were talking through like with adaptation, trying to figure out like legal bounds for that.
I'd love to help workshop any of those classes. But
You just need to talk to Ron Falzone, and I'm sure we could set something up.
We've got the glasses for it.
thank you.
do.
For those of you listening, Zach has a pair of pretty intense casual Harry Potter glasses.
Steve
Yes.
Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Jobsian.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're good. It's good.
Oh, that's very kind.
Those will book you jobs.
Yeah, well, you took off your glasses, so we all had our own pair.
I always take them off when I like sit down and people are close to me because I just can't see far,
Oh,
and
okay.
then a lot of sweat just gets underneath. So I like
Yeah.
to give my nose some time to breathe.
Yeah, especially in this room, I'm getting
Yeah.
it just
Right?
inherently.
I find they're good to establish characters.
Yeah.
Whenever we're performing, different days, I'll wear different glasses.
It's your range. Like my old producer in DC, Brianna Luck, she would straighten her hair, and she would call that her acting range, because then she could just like wet it and it would go curly again, and so she could be
Totally.
she
It
could be very
helps.
straight laced character, or she could be kind of wacky and Miss Frizzle-ish.
I have gotten cast because of weird glasses I was wearing.
I'm sure.
There were some Dwight Schrute engineering ones, and actually the first one that I ever got through this program. So I was doing the A through E improv program in
Yeah.
Second City, and I think there was a casting call. It was Elvira Ibragimova. She was doing a math theorem sketch, and she's like, those glasses, like, you look like a math nerd. Like, get in this shoot as an extra.
And he went home and bought 30 more pairs.
I did do a shoot a while back for it was this website called Pop Tent. They since have folded, but they you could
The
go
tent folded.
yeah, the Pop Tent folded.
There was a better. I could have gotten to that better and quicker, but carry
It's
on.
okay. No. It was a good reach.
Thank you.
No, but they did these things where you could sign up to like make videos for a bunch of different big name brands that were looking for kind of edgy, new, unique content from different voices, and so you could go create ads for all these bigger companies. So we signed up for one that was Lens Crafters, and they actually sent us like 2 boxes of these dummy frames. Like they have dummy glass in them, but they're all these different frames. And I've just kept them as like now I have a box
awesome.
of,
I would
of
love to
random
see them.
glasses frames.
I love glasses.
Yeah, so I can show them. I don't know that there's any that are great in there, but I'm sure
You
there's
should
some
rent them
that
out
are
to actors. You should start a little
Yeah.
business.
side
If you have an
business.
audition where you need a pair of glasses, come check out my collection.
Yeah,
$5
a
a
dollar.
pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Okay. This is Chicago. This is a market, Zach.
All right,
You need to charge. All right.
$1, maybe.
Yeah, stop being a cheapskate. God, it's like you work in law or something.
What's the overhead? These are film budgets, okay?
Well, so you all have been on a bunch of different sets. Like, I think every one of you has done at least 4 or 5 things that I can think of off the top of my head, and probably a decent amount more. Zach's nodding because
I don't know how many y'all have done,
Same.
but I was like downloading all the real stuff, and it's at least 20.
Yeah.
a lot.
Like, and they're all types, like the directing scenes,
Yeah.
the original works that y'all have written. I
Yeah.
don't know y'all's experience or if y'all have done the same scene more than once.
Oh,
The
yeah,
bridesmaid
definitely.
scene.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Which is what I had asked you to do and got her in mind for the bridesmaid scene. Because originally I was trying to get the 2 of you
Yeah.
together for it, but
Would have been a dream.
Womp
yeah,
womp.
I've done it a few times.
so what all stuff have you done? So let's finish with Zach's
Yeah,
list, 'cause
sorry.
that's
Oh, what am
insane.
I? Oh, it just adds up. So you like, the process. It's very interesting to see because I think I've gone through about 3 semesters now.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a graduate, but I've gone through the program as people.
You've seen the
have gone
program
up
from
and
Dad
down.
Club, yeah.
So there's the final projects, just working backwards, and those are obviously take up your whole 3rd semester. The 2nd semester, there's the directing project, and then like the 2nd original film. The directing project where you're doing like all of the famous scenes from different movies.
Yeah, so that's where the bridesmaid scene comes
I
from.
think I've
and-
done like the Something Happened that was never produced as a movie. I think I've done that twice. There's also like all those staged but not filmed readings in the 1st semester with John
Those
Mossman.
might be my favorite.
Those are so
Yeah.
much fun.
Those are so much. Me and Zach spent a whole day together doing those once.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did them from like 9 to 12 and then 12 to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Well, if you stick around, if one of the Harold Ramis students doesn't have actors, they'll be like, "Hey, can you stick around later?" And you're like, "Sure." 'Cause
Without fail. Somebody doesn't show up, or someone books someone who doesn't show up. I'm doing air quotes for that.
I would love
But
to.
that's probably like the wildest thing, because that's happened to me so many times. But it's so wild to me that you get an actor and that actor just doesn't show up on the day. Like you will find out a half an hour before you have to put up your scene, and your actor is like, "Oh, I can't come." Like that is
Like there has
wild
to be
to
like
me.
a legitimate, like you've booked the biggest job, like a real deal paid thing, or like some emergency, but to not just show up or to be like, I'm tired.
But I get it. It's like I get it. You're not getting paid for it, but there still has to be some professionalism in
totally.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's tough because I mean we're kind of dealing with a mixed bag. Like the nice thing we had was, I don't know if anyone, you all aren't SAG as of yet, but
eligible, but I'm not paying.
yeah, but we had a woman come down from SAG and talk to us about like their program, and a lot of people have been hesitant to use SAG actors because it feels like a lot of paperwork to eventually potentially run into the same thing that we're getting with non-paid actors, with non-SAG stuff. And she was like, no, the people will flake or something like that. And she's like, if you ever run into any of those cases, she's like, you call me, because like we'll kick them out. Like she's like, they're big on like the quality control and making sure that the people that are being as professional as possible, so that they're showing up on time. They're not saying, "Oh, I had to take care of my kids today" or something like that. Like this is work; they need to make other arrangements.
They're still part of the union,
yeah. And so that was kind of refreshing. Of like, oh, that's one way we could potentially avoid that. But I think the other way that we figured out is finding people like y'all that are consistently available and interested in doing this kind of stuff. But it's tough because for our like entry level classes, or for like the directed scenes that you were talking about that you've done a bunch of, those just feel really weird to go and ask somebody, hey, can you come do this thing in the middle of a weekday that you're not being paid for, that is not being filmed, so you're not actually getting something in return for it. It's like, give us all this time and energy to potentially receive seemingly nothing in return.
We are getting something out of it in that, I mean, I've gotten a lot of jobs out of that. You're just performing for other people, and they'll be like, oh, I think you might be right for something. And then they'll reach out to you, and you might end up getting something for your reel. If not, I think so much of this, as everybody knows, relationships.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I mean, honestly, that is just the reality of entertainment, is getting the jobs
It's
and
not
getting the
what you know, it's who you
opportunities
know.
is through networking. And that's what this is. We do all these scenes, and we get to meet a lot of different people who get us all these jobs.
they're
Like,
almost
that's just the reality
auditions
of it.
in a way. If you can make yourself available for an audition in the middle of the day, I think you can make yourself available to do an actual real scene that people could actually see you bite into, and then that's like an even better audition.
Yeah.
I think people, in any actor who's not, see, you're getting a very biased perspective from the people who are here all the time. We obviously think
That's
like,
true.
oh,
But
this is brilliant. But what I'm
That's
saying
on
is,
purpose.
well, there's, I feel like any actor who isn't already established, if they're trying to get connected to people in the scene, they'd be nuts not to be tripping over themselves to try to do as many of these as possible. It is a high density of, it's like 18 of y'all in a room, and you all have time and the resources you're dedicating a year for an unaccredited film program, because you're going to go make stuff. And we get to be in a room performing sometimes 4 or 5 scenes in a day, where you'll have to watch us. And then you get so familiar with us and you trust us that you're going to use us in so many other scenes.
Well, and you get to see a few people too as an actor
True.
and get their different direction and how they're going to be. You get an idea of how they're going to be on set.
Yeah,
Totally.
Because if you all run into, like, not asking for names, but if you have you run into cases where you've got on set and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
it gives you.
One time with Zach.
Yeah.
That was my first impression of Zach on set.
Oh, okay. I thought
was
you
like
meant
this-
Zach as the director.
Oh no, I was like, he's a nightmare, and everyone would.
I am. Don't work
Sorry.
with me. I'm
Let's
awful.
Put it close. I have a high pitched voice that doesn't catch.
I think it's more of you get a sense of the different directing styles.
Yeah.
So there's been such a range of students that have come through the film school, and when you get to work with them sort of in a group class setting, you get a sense of like who they might be on a set
Yeah.
that is for a full project, and so you're not walking in cold like you are with so many other projects.
Totally.
Or if you're on Jeff's shoot this weekend, you're not cold at all.
Oh my
I
god.
heard about that.
Oh my
I
goodness.
heard about what you had to do when you're a star.
Oh
That's amazing.
my god, it was so hot.
So Brittany, Zach, and I were all on a shoot this past weekend. That the first day was almost all shooting outdoors, and then the second day was supposed to be indoors and air conditioned. And the building we were in decided apparently over the weekend not to turn on the air conditioning. So,
what a wild time.
but somebody pointed out, I can't remember who said it, but that it probably wound up helping the performances because everyone just seems pissed off and agitated in that
were
writer's
so, like,
room, which is
delirious
where
from the
everybody's
sun.
supposed to be. Yeah. So it winds up being like a happy accident as far as what it's going to look like performance-wise, but I felt
Jeff
bad
did
for
it on
everybody.
purpose.
Yeah. Like me and Scott were down on the next floor, which is probably a good 5 degrees cooler, but still was hot. And we're just dying down there.
Oh, but it felt so much better compared to what that other floor
there.
felt like. It was
You spent as much time down there as you could. You would just come
Oh,
down and
yeah, I
lay out
did.
on the couch.
Oh,
I've
yeah, I
done a super, super, super cold shoot.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 10 hours, and I can't decide which one's worse.
What was your cold shoot?
It was just one of the final films last
okay.
for the
Oh
purple.
yeah. Oh no, I remember. Sit and Shiva. That one.
No, it was 100-meter race walk dash.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sit and shiva out in the cold.
I was just trying to guess the final
No, that
project.
is
so.
really funny. No, and it was so much fun. I'm still friends with that writer director, Andrea Rivera. Shout out. But it was such a cold day, and I like watch it now, and I'm just like, wow, you need to learn how to act through the cold because it like gets to you. It kind of does.
We did a shoot in DC before I moved here for it was for what do they call it? Reel to Reel. It's called Reel to Reel now.
That sounds so familiar.
It's REAL to REEL.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it's storytellers that go up and do their storytelling bit, and then they get paired up with a bunch of different filmmakers who go out and make the films that are either based on that, inspired by that, or like retellings of the same thing. And we did one that was about a magnetic hill, which I don't know if you're familiar with the phenomenon. It's this idea you can park at the bottom of a hill and just put your car in neutral, and it will creep up the hill.
That's not true.
It's not. It's an optical illusion. It's an optical illusion where basically like the
Somebody
trees.
give me a
I
car.
don't believe
The
it.
trees have grown in such a way that they look like you're going uphill when actually you're going slightly downhill. It's a weird phenomenon, but this storyteller had this whole story about her family and meeting some of her extended cousins for the first time, and the first thing they went and did together went to go try out one of these magnetic hills, and just really weird film. So we wind up making that, and it's in October. So we wind up filming that in October in DC outdoors for 2 straight nights, where both nights it was like drizzling rain, cold rain the whole time, and it must have been maybe like 10 degrees. And so I had actors back-to-back nights out in the cold, like doing that, and it was so
They
bad.
didn't survive.
Yeah,
It hurts.
only
Starts
3 of them
to
made it to the
physically
end of the
hurt.
production. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so rough trying to
It
try,
really
but they were all supposed to be again kind of agitated, and I think it just played into it. The only tough thing was they all started falling asleep.
we did that one Tavia shoot.
Yeah, that was
that was in the
freezing cold.
winter in the woods,
Oh
In
yeah,
the woods.
and I was wearing no shirt
Oh, jeez.
in elf makeup, and
And I was out there literally like all
You were all day. I got to
without
go into a
coat
car
on.
or
It was,
whatever.
by the end, I thought I died. Obviously, I didn't. But I decided that I did prefer that than the heat. But that's who I
Yeah.
am as a person.
Yeah, I hate the heat
I'd
as well.
rather be cold than hot.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah, because you can always. I feel like you can always warm up,
Yeah,
get a
You
blanket.
can put a jacket
but you can't
on.
take skin off.
No,
like
you
there's a certain
can't
point
do
where you
that.
No, although it feels like the sun is trying to do that to you.
Yes,
Take
it'll
off your skin.
Just burn it off
Oh
layer
my
by
God,
layer.
I hate sunshine. I hate warmth and happiness.
Which is why you're an
Yeah,
actor.
right.
So what projects have you done that have been like really fun? Anything that stands out?
every
as, like,
single one of them.
Oh,
It's so much fun, and I can't wait to work with
got-
every single one of you.
you got some
again.
brown on your nose. Like any of them that stand out, and why was it like a good experience?
Oh boy.
I've enjoyed just recently. It hasn't come out yet, but Matt White's final project, and I can't remember what final name he settled on. For
I don't know.
project.
I don't know what the final is going to be
or something like
That's
that.
what it was at the time, but that was supposedly the name of the fictional company that they work at. So I don't know that that's going to be.
I don't want to
We'll
give
find
away
out.
too many wrong things.
We'll find out.
but
His final film, which will be going up in mid-August.
Yeah, I think
So.
one of my favorite things about it was actually anytime you have a good AD, who's just keeping you on topic and on schedule, because we just want to do bits all day.
Yeah.
And so does everybody there. We're all joking around, having fun, but it moved so smoothly.
Yeah.
And I forget who was AD on that. Was it John?
Was AD on that one?
Well,
was it Chris?
Might have been Chris.
Chris is very good AD.
Yes.
Chris keeps people in check.
But I've really
Which
enjoyed.
is so weird because he is.
I know, because he's such a funny.
Personally, he's the first person to go into a bit. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that set just because it moves so quickly, and
Yeah.
anything also with a location I love, even if it's long, because when we shoot inside Second City,
I'm with you.
these walls I can't.
Totally.
It's less usable in a reel. Just
Yeah,
from
yeah.
a very pragmatic perspective, if you just go anywhere aside from Second City, it makes me so much happier.
Yeah. And that's tough trying to, because that's another thing. It's location scouting. A lot of people that are in the school are not from here.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah.
I have a lot of, one in particular, written, directed, produced by the one and only Tony Lazzaroni. Tony Pepperoni, called Animoji,
Oh, that was so good.
which was super, super fun. And just like you were so on top of it, and we were just like, yeah, it was beautifully organized. We could have used a snack, Tony. We were all complaining about how hungry we were. But it was super fun.
So, truth be told, like that wasn't actually for class.
It was not.
I wrote the sketch for the Dick Blasucci workshop that we did.
Yeah.
And he came in, and he's the former showrunner for Mad TV. And so I pitched the script, and then came in the next week with it. We read through it as a group. He goes, "Yeah, this one needs to just be shot." And I was like,
Done.
What? I should shoot this?
Lens it.
Yeah.
I could do it tomorrow. Is that too soon? Like, and so just like tossed it together as quick as I could. Like
I loved it.
You got Lexi for me for the
Yeah, I
other
did.
for the other actor for it. Yeah, it was great, and it turned out great.
I loved it. That one was super fun. I did one recently with Bridie Hicks. I don't even know what it was called. It wasn't. It was kind of in the beginning of the year.
I'm
and it was.
jealous. Anything she does.
I
is
know.
Just
It was so fun. We were just in her room. It was all just shot in her actual apartment room, and it was so chill. She just has like the best vibe, like directing vibe. She's like, "Yeah, let's try that." And I'm like, "Great, Bridie, thank
It's
you."
actually a very good Bridie impression.
Yeah.
you got the little like kind of head bobble to go along with it.
Do it. And then there was one more that recently happened that I can't even. They're all super fun,
Yeah,
but those two in current memory kind of stick out.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, Brittany?
Oh
As
my
you're
goodness.
dancing around in your chair.
I do that often. I don't. Oh well, obviously, like I really loved Tavia's shoot. That was really fun, and I got to be royalty, and it was just really silly, and and it had fairies in it, and I love that. And she's awesome. She's such a queen. Love her. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fun. But yeah, I don't know.
What
Everyone's
makes
so different in their like directing style, and I think one of the best parts of this is like learning how everyone else works, and especially since you get to see them in different roles on different sets as well.
well, what works for you all? Like, what do you end up liking?
Most in a director.
Yeah, in a
Sorry.
director or just even in a script that you're working with.
When they know what they want, like if the most important thing as a director, first of all, is to know how to communicate with your actors. Like, it's so important to be like, this is how you want it, but also give them like the freedom to interpret that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, there's just such a certain way to talk to an actor, but also I need to trust that you know what you want and that you're going to find out the journey to get me there as an actor so that we can work collaboratively. That works for me.
Yeah.
Because if you're just like, and I'm just like, I don't know what you want from me. Is this right? Tell me I'm good. You know? Or just to properly tell your story. Like, you have a certain story you want to tell. I want to be able to
help
tell
you get
that.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that totally.
Yeah.
I mean, just like someone I've worked with, I think only about 2 directors that just were completely indecisive, and it's so. And even those experiences, though, I'm not knocking on them because they completely teach you something about yourself as an actor, about yourself as a professional, and the whole situation. But like just being completely indecisive, and we would do things, and they would just be like, "Okay, what do you guys think?" And I'm like, but
What
you're
do
the
you
boss.
What do you think? That's the one that
And I
matters.
appreciate that you let me, try it on my own for a bit and like whatever. But any kind of guidance is good. And I
Yeah.
also really like. This could be just me, and I know this is something that a lot of people, like writers and directors, don't like. But I personally really love improvising, and I also totally respect a writer. And what you have on the page is how you see it, and that's your vision, and I'm going to help you fulfill that. But if you could just give me like one take to play,
Yeah.
I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
2 things. I would say one is a rehearsal before the shoot. I do appreciate that, just so that if we are going to spitball ideas or come up with something new, that I'm not doing it in front of everybody for the first time and then getting shot down, because that just is like, oh, okay, back up to the character.
This thing that I've been building up for like 3 weeks since you asked me to do this. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
I like
that character that
sort
I
of
got.
sorting
You
all
hate
that.
all of
The whole
it.
backstory that
Shit.
developed, I'll just tear it up into shreds, no problem.
So I like that as sort of at least one rehearsal, just as a creative space to wreak havoc, try something new, or swing and miss with any ideas you might have for the character when you're not on the shoot. The second thing is a director who has built a team that they work with well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of directors have tried to be heroes on their sets
Yeah.
and do everything. And I think it's that it's incredible, but I've enjoyed sets better when they have a team of people who all know their roles and all sort of fit together well like gears.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do it, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and I will admit I came from a world where I felt like trying to be here all the time and do 10 things at once, and so this school I've been trying to take a step back and like.
I'd like to know on the reverse end, what do you like in an actor, me specifically? No, I'm just kidding. No.
I like notes.
We've talked about notes for you.
Yeah, just in general, what kind of actor do you like to work with?
I mean, someone who commits. That's 99% of it, is someone who is willing to commit, like put it all on the table, as ridiculous or as, bland as a character may be. Like if you can commit to that character, it makes life so much easier for us, because in 2 ways. 1, we get what we want from you on camera, but 2, a lot of the times when I'm asking like one of you to do something in a scene, it's because not for your performance, it's because I'm trying to milk something out of the person that you're playing opposite to. And it's got to be believable. Like, if you're going to say, actually, I'll put for you and Graham doing for Brittany when you did the scene for the directed scenes that whose was that? Ian's. Wasn't it? Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but a lot of what Ian was trying to get, he was like giving you things to do, but it was to milk the performance out of Graham, like freaking out as much as possible. The scene, I still don't know what this scene was originally supposed to be. Like, we just completely the Ian chose. I feel like the rest of us were like, oh, we'll choose Bridesmaids, something that we can actually see. He chose a scene that was like a second city sketch that no one's ever actually seen the video clip from.
It was a bold choice, and
Yeah,
I liked it.
it's very much like character piece. I swear, it's just about putting 2 characters in a room and just watching them bounce off one another. And they don't put any of that in any of the notes within the sketches for Second City stuff. You get just like line, action, line. You get nothing about.
You never know if something's missing from that script too, because after it's on a stage and they're playing with it, they don't write that play.
No. Yeah,
down, you know what I mean?
But I feel like
So
there was nothing there to begin with. Like it's all comes out in character, and you and Graham did a great job of like just milking this little game of, you're just sweet and funny and fucking with this poor guy who's like at his wit's end that was your father in the situation. And
Oh,
it's
that's
just,
the Something Happened Teller one. I've done that one twice.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
It's an adaptation of a Joseph Heller book that never got made into a movie. I think John Hancock was going to make it. I don't know. But that's the origin story. I know. Well,
because
I've
he's
done
it
it
twice.
Yeah.
So he did the research to find out.
But like, because I was tearing through, like, is this in the archives? Like, is this like a sketch?
Ian did the same thing and couldn't find anything about it.
No. I think
But-
it's a screenplay that was adapted from a book.
Yeah.
That was never made into a movie.
Wow.
But at any rate, going back to the original thing, it's that commitment. What's that?
So why do we have that?
I don't know. It's in the list. I think it's really just because some people do want to do something that they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And it's a chance to do something for that purpose. Because the way these classes stair step. So for the directing class, we do a stage reading of already written like Second City sketches. Then we do our own adaptations of those.
Those are so much fun.
In our own writings, and then this term we're doing the same thing but shooting them. So we get directed scenes of existing sketches and scenes from movies, and then this next, like in a couple of weeks, we're doing them where it's our own stuff that we're putting up. And so
We're all available, Tony.
they haven't given me my time slot. That's the thing that's killing me, because I want to ask people like yesterday, but I feel like there's a lot of times where they don't tell us that stuff in advance on purpose.
Ooh.
And it makes
scramble to get your actors.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like it's like
Hey,
meant
Zach,
to
are
be
you
like.
free tomorrow at
Yeah.
9 a.m.?
How many times have you gotten that?
So
A
many.
few.
So
And it's not
many.
because we want to wait until the day before to ask you. It's because like oftentimes we don't get our schedules until just before, or maybe they get it a day before that, and they just don't have the brain space at the moment that they get the schedule to actually email people out.
Y'all
and
are
they do it
so
the next morning.
overworked. Like,
It's
Sure.
but so that's that's just me being defensive for no good reason.
I've got a bone.
we
to
still show up because we want to be there.
Yeah. But no. So the commitment is 99% of it.
I love
Brittany and Graham committed so fucking well to that one, and Brittany is dancing and now I think pantomiming singing into. You doing okay over there?
Uh-huh.
I feel like you're like running on fumes or something.
I honestly always am.
I know the feeling. But no, so the other question, so for a script, what do you all like seeing in a script that makes it easier to work with?
I like to see the script.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where it's not sent. I only bring that up because there was one time. let me just explain. There was one time where someone reached out and asked me to do something, and I was available, and I said yes. And then I got this script like 2 days before I was supposed to shoot, and I read it, and I was like, oh, this is. And I usually say yes to everything right now, especially. But I was like, this is not good for women. And so,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I said no. And then after that, I was kind of like, I kind of want to see things before I
Say yes.
say yes. And that's
Right.
the only reason. Otherwise, I'm just like, yeah, I'm in.
You get scripts after you say
yeah,
yes. a
after
lot
you
of
say yes.
times.
So and then that aside, saying the script is good. And then what I look for in a script, kind of to go off of what you said, just anything where I can just like commit the shit out of it. But also I say yes to everything. My email is aztrajkov@gmail.com. Carry on.
Plugs are at the end of the episode.
Sorry.
This is a mid-episode plug break.
Yeah. Sponsored by GoDaddy.com. No, it's not.
You're
Am I gonna
you're
get
like
in
the
trouble?
third person to like force a sponsorship into the show that doesn't actually exist. Yeah. No, Jonathan Lee Ray was doing it a bunch on the second episode. He was like, "Here's 14 sponsors that we will never actually get." All right, what else?
I like to see a script. That's true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I look at a script and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know. I like to see a script, and then I just like a script that's just fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I can just have like a lot of fun with it, and
The weirder, the better.
yeah, the weirder.
So yours,
Not
it's
too
the actual
weird.
content is weirder as opposed to like meatier part or something that's like more emotionally taxing.
Oh man.
Zanier is better.
I like zany. I like emotional too. No, I'm a liar. I do really love the emotional stuff. that gets me going. I don't know. I really like a lot of different things. Honestly, that sounds so boring and so, but it's true.
I'd love to do emotional stuff.
Yeah,
more.
Yeah.
I
But
never get
I
to do
feel
it.
like it's just like a feeling. Like if you feel like you really are gonna have fun, or like you can really explore something, or you feel like you can really get into what's in the script, then it's good. Because there have been times where I'll read something, I'm just like, I'm not really feeling this. I'm gonna have to say no.
But that goes off to like that I'm not going to bring up the person or the script for the sake of sounding like a complete stalker. But when I read it earlier, we were talking about, I was like,
one of my classmates' script who Adriana really wants to do.
Yeah, he gave it to me, and I was just like, this is so funny and so weird, and it was just like this. I connected, and I was like, I want this. So yeah, I think it is kind of emotional. Zach?
In scripts, I enjoy, if it is staged, I like it zany and big. And if it's going to be filmed, I like it more grounded. And it kind of depends on the project, since y'all have a very specific syllabus for what projects are going to be done. I won't expect, let's say, an original work that you're only doing a scene of in your first semester or second semester. I won't but in the final projects, I love like a beginning, middle, and end, like all of the basic things of writing.
Yeah.
Where your character gets to either transform or have a point of view. I mean, all the basic stuff they'll tell you in writing classes.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's great.
Yeah, and it's tough because in a lot of cases you're trying to do that for one or two characters in something to try and find that for
even if they're supporting
ancillary,
characters, trying to get that for extras. But even if I have like 3 or 4 lines, if I have a character who is not complete off the wall bonkers and has like a point of view on film, that is gold for me for real stuff. Because I've had some stuff that I've tried to shoehorn into a reel that is super goofy and it gets no traction.
Yeah.
Because it's too big. And I think that's hard to balance because this is a comedy school.
Well, and some of it too for us is figuring out the best way to capture this stuff. It's not always obvious. Are you in the wide shot or are you in the close up for this joke? You know, what's gonna hit the best? And so a big thing they harp on us is coverage. So do the thing 15 times and get it from 5 different angles. And then you've got options that you can always figure out, oh, actually, this is funnier when we get in super tight versus this is better when it's so far away. It seems like you're across the street from the action. Like,
right.
You don't necessarily know until you've got some experience what's going to be the right response or the right way of approaching something. So that can be helpful. Well, if anyone were trying to get into doing some acting with Harold Ramis people, or if they've been asked and they don't know what to expect, what advice would you give to them?
There is some strategy. There is some gamesmanship. I don't know if y'all have particular strategies, but it's very nuanced and it's constantly changing as the school is changing. But first of all, there's a website you can sign up to, but it's basically getting your email on an email list where you'll occasionally get casting call information, but also and especially for those first cohort students. What are those? The staged readings.
Stage readings.
They can only see, and one of the cohorts didn't even get actors to see.
Oh, really?
I forget who it was. It was the most recent one, but they didn't have anyone for the first semester.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They didn't get any actors. I can't remember which one. But they were like, that's like, for people who are not from Chicago, these are the 10 actors they know.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's a really good way to get in.
If you get in early, then you're in often.
You're basically in for the rest of that.
I feel like Zak
cohort's
Kinnaird is
years.
working
Yeah.
at the same, like blue and purple, right?
Yeah.
Around there. Like, it just keeps going. I would say, do all what Zach said. And then I've noticed recently a lot more cohorts. I didn't notice this as much with blue and purple, but they're posting a lot on Actors Access and Backstage. So if you don't get in on any of those stage readings or whatever, you can't make it to one, I strongly encourage you to make it the time. But if you can't, even going to one of those auditions and getting noticed in front of like 2 people that are in the school is helpful. Just like make friends with the students.
Well, and we refer a lot to one another too. Like if I see one of you give a performance in somebody else's short and then someone else is looking for a similar type character or something like that, I can be like, oh, I saw so and so do
That
do this
happened
great.
recently, and I have to say, it's also very flattering.
Yeah. When someone's like, you should use this person
Yeah.
because they are amazing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, similar things. I mean, and then make friends. I think that's so important. Even if you're like, but I'm an introvert and I don't like talking to people. Listen, you got to get over it.
Say hi.
If you want to do the things you want to do, you got to get over it because you have to. And they're nice people.
They're so nice.
The students
Harold Ramis
at the
Physical
Harold
students
Ramis
are the
School
coolest.
Are
Yeah.
cool people,
Almost too
I guess.
cool.
Some of them.
almost.
Some of them are all right.
One thing I want to mention, and then as far as what you were saying is about what to expect, just go in with an open mind, but you put it on yourself to be the most professional person that you can be in that room. Like don't go into it being like these better be the most professional amateur filmmakers, whatever. Just like put it on yourself to be super professional and just hope the rest happens.
I feel like you should take the same approach to it that you take to like a new animal that's like it's like they're more scared of you than you are of them. Like
Oh, do you think that's true? Are people scared of actors?
I think in a lot of cases they are. Like they're because they don't necessarily know what's offensive. Like especially because in early classes, like they're talking a lot about like line reads and that sort of thing, and how you can be really offensive doing this. We got one guy that came in and talked to us as an actor about it, and he was like, don't ever give me a line read. And he was like,
I heard about this.
It was like intimidating to some people. They were like, I'm so scared that I'm going to do one and
Oh
not
my
realize
God.
it. And I'm like, it's not that bad. If you do one, like, it's not going to kill you. And sometimes they want them. You just got to know the actor. Like, some are okay with line reads every once in a while. Some will ask you for it because they don't know how to get to the emotion that you're asking them to get, or something like that. Like, it kind of depends on where you all are at too. But yeah, I would say approach. That's
Another suggestion would be, while I wouldn't suggest this anywhere else typically, I would not suggest being an extra anywhere else, but here, it can actually be very productive in terms of everybody on that set is a director as well. So I've done supporting our extra roles, and then I have all the time in the world to just like hang out and chit chat with everyone else about their upcoming projects.
Yeah.
So I would also encourage be an extra once or twice.
Yeah, just to clarify, you mean directors on their own projects, not all on one set.
Oh yeah, no, sorry.
There's 20 directors in one room. They are all directing the same project.
Oh my God!
The crew on all of your the crew on all of the Harold Ramis film sets is typically other film school students / directors doing their own projects. So you have 20 people you can then talk to. So I find that useful.
Get involved, because it just like it has helped me in a million and one ways, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Well, if in wrapping up here, if people want to track any of y'all down on social media and see maybe some of the projects that you're in, one thing I plan on doing is I think I've already got a couple clips. I've got Animoji up there, but I'll post some stuff from each of you. If you have some videos you want to send me to put up on the website to share, I would be happy to do that. But where can people find y'all on social media?
I like Zak's laugh away from the mic. I didn't want you guys to know that he's laughing throughout this, but he is.
I don't think they're laugh lines. I think you're being serious, so I wanted to.
What's he pulling out of his wallet?
Oh, I would like to
he's
plug.
plugging. Yeah.
I'm plugging.
plug.
Is it plug time?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. I also, in addition to acting, another strategy of mine to see scripts ahead of time is I run a monthly free organization for writers to workshop their work for free. It's called Cold Reads Hot Scripts, and it's, like I said, it's a free monthly place. You submit your script, and then I get professional actors from around the city to do a read of it, so you can sort of workshop your writing. So you can go to the website at coldreadshotscripts.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram under the same names.
And I can vouch for this because I did it 2 months ago and would have gone last month too, but just was out of town.
Yeah. I forget which work were you doing there?
I did the Pact. Actually, I did a couple because I did.
Oh yeah.
I did
those
the one
were
that I'm
so
working on
good.
for my final feature, and we did the Dream Tom, the airplane sketch, which I may do for my directed scene.
We actually auditioned with that for your cohort. I remember that one.
Yeah, because
we've workshopped the heck out of that one.
That's why I'm like, I might just shoot that one because I feel like it's the one that's got the most legs. But
Hey,
It's-
juice the likes.
It
That's
works.
what I say.
It works. It works. I don't know. We've got another Dick Blasucci workshop coming up next week, so maybe I'll write something better. I don't know. But how about yourself? Finding yourself on?
Oh, if you want to find me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, not Twitter. So.
I don't tweet, so don't ask
I do
me
not
to.
tweet. I deleted my Twitter.
Okay.
In 2010, I think.
And you haven't gone back.
I've never gone back. Never
Yeah.
looked back.
Good for you.
But yeah, it's just my first name and last name, Zak Kinnaird. So
And you can see it on the episode. Neither is spelled how you would expect.
oh, neither is spelled correctly.
I didn't say correctly. I just said how you would expect.
I say correctly.
Well, my
Those are not spelled
mom and
correct.
dad were very clever. My initials spell my name, so it's Zachary Andrew Kinnaird, Z-A-K.
Did
so
they do
that's
that on
why it's
purpose?
spelled- Yes, they did.
I
And
want
they
to
did
meet
it
your
for my
parents.
brother too.
Mine
They're
accidentally
lovely.
made my name rhyme.
Tony Pepperoni.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Adriana Trajkovski. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't tweet often, and I have a lot in my drafts, but I'm too self-conscious to tweet them. I know. It's just so much pressure. I'm working on a website. I'll email it to Tony when it happens. But yeah.
My turn.
Yeah. What you got?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram at No Limits is NO_L1MITS. That's so complicated. I'm so sorry. And I'm on Twitter under the same name, but I don't tweet.
Cheers.
So here we are. Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. I don't ever go directly to Twitter. It dual posts
Yes.
whatever I put on Instagram. So
Oh,
my
okay.
Twitter is really just my Instagram.
How do we
just
find you,
reposted.
Tony?
It comes at the end of the episode. I say that all the time.
Perfect.
You would know that if you listen to the
I
podcast.
know. Sorry.
Oh.
I told you why I can. I will. I do. I love Tony very much.
She likes every post about this. So.
I do. I like
She
every
does.
time you post about this podcast. I like it.
Good. I appreciate that. Well, thank you all for coming on. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
That was Adriana Trajkovski, Brittani Yawn, and Zak Kinnaird. If you want to learn more about Zak's monthly Cold Reads Hot Scripts event, check out coldreadshotscripts.com. Thank you to all three of them and to the Harold Ramis Film School and the Second City staff for their help. The music on this week's episode was Thank You Enough by Derek Avery. You can find more of his music at derekevery.com. This show was recorded and edited by me, Tony Lazzaroni. If you want to hear more from me and my classmates, teachers, and a few special guests, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you have questions or comments, send us an email at filmstudentpod@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Instagram at filmstudentpod. And definitely be sure to check out some of my and my classmates' work at filmstudentpod.com. See you all next week. Class dismissed.